Haven't.
We're live for the first time in 2020, the choice of a new decade. I don't know whatever that means, but whatever. That's a great start to the podcast. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so before someone boomers us, welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are bringing you Transformers news from around the world with an Australian accent. And when I just said "okay, boomer," my "okay, Google" hot word went off on my phone, so that's gone well. This is episode 207. We are recording live on Friday, the 17th of January, 2020. And there's Google just talking back to me, and I shouldn't have done that. We'll be back after this. Hey Google, stop. Whatever. At least I'm not having a massive throwdown argument with Google. That has happened before.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Google won somehow.
Google usually wins.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah, I know. It's a bit like that, isn't it? That's Sydney being chock full of smoke, but yeah. All right. Let's get back on the way, shall we? Welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. I'm Jason. This is our first episode of the year, which means I've messed up a couple of things in the intro, but that's okay. Joining me, we have coming to us from all the way over on the other side of the country, which is also on fire, Bradley, groovy guy. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I think we've only had one day here in Perth where it's been really smoky. Every other day's been pretty clear, but we are still aware that, yes, like the rest of the nation, we are on fire.
Yes, Australia. Well, so actually, Sydney's underwater today, but I'm sure it'll be back on fire tomorrow. Max in Adelaide, how are you doing over there?
Doing well. Had a poignant moment the other day where I tried to transport some donations for bushfire relief, and then had to get turned back by the cops because there was another bushfire in the way. So if that doesn't sum up the current Australian experience, I don't know what does.
So you tried to help people to recover from a bushfire, but a bushfire stopped you from doing it.
No bugger off as a bushfire.
Fair enough. In all seriousness, if people internationally are listening, and we know a couple of people do from around the place.
Michael Bay.
Yeah, look, Michael Bay. This message is going out to you. Australia has had the worst bushfire season on record. It's blanketed capital cities with smoke, which has never happened before, and it's actually taken a good couple of months to break a drought. And today we've had a massive amount of rainfall that's come south from a tropical cyclone as a result of thunderstorms. Now, it's put out a few fires. It's also started more fires through lightning strikes. So don't just think that it rains and we're out of the woods. But we will put a link in the show notes to the Red Cross if you would like to donate something to help Australians who've lost their homes. There's been a massive amount of land burned and homes lost. Then we would love to. We would love to see some listeners make donations if that is at all possible. That does also cover one of the stories that's coming up later in the show as well. Now, it's been a couple of months since we're on the air. I spent a month of it overseas. Thankfully, I managed to escape Sydney's poor air quality by going and spending some time in China. I'm just going to let that sink in.
That's better air there.
It was actually better air. Sydney and Melbourne have had the worst air in the world, alternately, for the last few days. Not only that, I actually spent about a week in Shenzhen in China, which is basically where everything is made, and it's known to have some of the worst air quality in the world, and it was better than Sydney. But the rest of the time was spent in London, thankfully, with family and enjoying some cooler weather over Christmas. Now, along the way, I did discover a couple of interesting Transformers on sale in Hong Kong. We'll talk about and have a look at some of the photos of those later on. Other than that, it's been I went to 4 countries in 4 weeks, so for me, it's been a relaxed but eventful holiday. How did you guys spend Christmas? What did you do? Did you go anywhere?
Sat around home and got pissed at the family. About the same as
Was that pissed with or pissed at?
Oh, bit of both.
Does it depend when the climate change discussion comes up?
Yeah. That's a true Aussie Christmas for you right there.
Yeah,
Sure is.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Bradley?
It's been very, very quiet here. I've sort of been just trying to survive the summer heat, you know, the Australian summer heat.
Yes,
And,
we know it well. It's burning everything at the moment.
Yeah, so just I don't do too well with the summer season. So yeah, just trying to survive, and so far I'm doing kind of okay, even though I'm looking a bit rough, but that's just the norm.
I mean, can't you just take shelter under your beard if it gets too hot?
I can't because then it pushes me back for it to protect itself.
Yeah, no, it's a problem with those beards when they achieve sentience.
Oh yeah, especially when they become self-aware.
So, did you guys get any presents from Santa? Will we be talking about those in new acquisitions later on, or is there anything you want to talk up now?
Nothing on my front. Which is
So Max was naughty. Got a lump of coal.
You got a lump of coal, yeah. And I got too many figures to name. I think you've seen the. Actually, hang on. I've got this here. This is like a phone book of instruction manuals.
Oh my gosh!
That's how many figures I got.
Oh, no.
They're quite a few.
Dear,
They're
yeah.
all from the Siege line, so yeah, pretty good, pretty profitable.
Oh, nice. All right. Oh, look, we'll talk about the new acquisitions later on in the show. We might get started in that case. I'll turn on the news screen share. There we go. And so I'm not sure we even got to talking about this convention,
We did.
but it has unfortunately been cancelled. So Go Atomic, I think we might have talked about it in the last show of last year. Go Atomic was a new pop culture exhibition that was scheduled to actually take place this weekend in Sydney, with a notable guest being Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime. It has unfortunately been postponed. Now, given the situation with bushfires around Australia, there's a few takes on exactly why it was postponed. We've seen people cancel their travel plans because they need to stay near their homes in case bushfires get near their homes and they need to evacuate their families. So I think that's part of what's caused the event to be cancelled. I also suspect, although this has never actually been stated by anyone, I suspect that the event insurance can't be very happy about bringing personalities like Peter Cullen, Giancarlo Esposito, and Brad Dourif to Australia when there's a chance that like the venue might get smoked in with bushfire smoke, or worse, given that it is a very, very high fire danger risk at the moment. So I suspect there's a confluence of things that has caused the event to be cancelled. Now, Go Atomic is saying that the event has been postponed and will take place at a later date to be advised. They have issued refunds to all ticket goers, and we assume that when the event does get remounted, presumably later in the year, there will be a different guest list. But you never know. If it's the same guest list, that'd be pretty good. Now, if you were hoping to meet Peter Cullen this weekend, I do know that our friend of the show, as in frequent host of the show, Ash Whaling, is in fact prowling around Sydney at the moment because he purchased tickets to the event and plane tickets to come up from Tasmania. So we'll be trying to catch up with him over the course of the weekend. If you were hoping to come and meet Peter Cullen, there are other options to meet Peter Cullen at conventions, but they're a little bit further away. TF Nation, which, as you might know, I am quite fond of attending the last couple of years. TF Nation does have Peter Cullen attending in Birmingham in the UK in August this year, and he's also attending the Liverpool Comic Con, which I think takes place in March at some point. You do have to hike yourself off to the other side of the planet if you want to go to those events, but I've been telling everyone that TF Nation is worth going to. So maybe now's the time for a few more Aussies to go and add to our contingent. We do have at least 3 Aussies that I know of attending and making the trek this year. So head over to tfnation.com if you're interested in getting some tickets. And there's plenty of time between now and August for you to find a cheap flight, and there's accommodation and stuff on offer. Also, it's not really that expensive a convention. It's £75 for a weekend ticket, and you don't have to pay. For autographs or meeting guests or anything, except for Peter Cullen. He's obviously going to be a big draw card for the convention. Now, beg your pardon?
When is TF Nation again?
TF Nation is in August.
August, okay.
Start putting some plans together, Max. You can come with us.
maybe.
Yeah, go on. All right, let's move on to the next story. A little bit more bad news, actually. So, EB Games, which also operates the Zing Pop Culture stores, has announced that it is shutting 19 stores across Australia this month. It has been noted that those stores are apparently unprofitable. Now, the stores are in fairly remote locations, so I don't think we need to be too concerned about EB Games going under yet. Although I believe we did joke at the time the Unicron pre-orders came up last year. No, nothing's wrong with EB Games. They're rock solid. They'll be around. Yeah.
Fingers crossed now.
Yeah, just cross everything. So in some cases, they're shutting stores that are close to other stores. They're also shutting stores that are quite remote and poorly trafficked, not getting much by way of trade. And in some cases, the stores will be joining up with a Zing store, it's sort of the new store layout for EB Games. It's sort of half video games, half pop culture collectibles in their Zing brand. So there is a list. We've got an article up from Business Insider Australia. There is a list of stores that will be closing in there, and most of us are probably not going to be too affected by it. But
if I'm looking at the ones I know on this list, they're ones that are, like you said, either real close to each other. I mean, one of the ones on here, the City Cross Run, is literally across the road from another EB Games. This isn't too much to worry about. This is just them cleaning house a bit.
Look, it's not too much to worry about, although it is worth noting that EB Games' parent company is not doing too well in the US either. So, unlike some situations where like Kmart and Target are independently licensed brands in Australia, EB Games is in fact directly tied to its American parent. So there is definitely some cause for concern there, but for now the company still appears to be plenty profitable.
Yeah, it was getting a bit sort of hectic with how many EB Games stores there were everywhere, but with only 19 unprofitable stores shutting down, there's still going to be quite a lot of EB Games stores. I mean, 19 isn't a huge amount.
I actually don't know how many stores they have across the country. I can think of like sort of 5 or 6 around Sydney. I assume most capital cities have sort of a similar concentration, and in sort of Westfield shopping centres. So yeah, I don't know. 19 is. Sorry, Max.
Just the ones that I know on here compared to the amount that I know around the city here, it's a tiny percentage. So I wouldn't think this is hugely significant on a nationwide level.
Oh. If you happen to have gone into any of the stores that are closing and put down some money for a Unicron pre-order, might be worth contacting EB Games and seeing exactly what is going to happen to your order and which store you can pick it up from instead. Look, all they need to do is make it through to February 2021, and everyone will be happy.
That's all they have to do is survive a year.
That's all they have to do. Survive a year in the Australian retail landscape. There's a lot of companies that are shutting up shop at the moment across Australia, and this is just another of the recent signs. We also heard, on a not entirely unrelated but not entirely related either front, audio retailer Bose is shutting a lot of stores around the world. They'll remain open in the Middle East and some in Southeast Asia. Then the company sells online anyway, so it's not like they're going anywhere. But it's just another sign that there is a bit of a downturn happening in the retail sector.
Yeah, and also Bus does a lot of TV shopping shows as well, so I don't think they're going to really be hit too hard. But I also saw Jeans West has shut down their stores. I was like, hang on, they're still around?
Yeah, Jeans West went into voluntary administration this week as well. There is a really interesting thing happening in Australian retail, where a lot of stores are relying on sales to bring customers in, which means that if you rely on discounts to bring in customers, you have to sell more stuff at a discount in order to make the same amount of money that you would have made when you didn't have a sale on. So as I say this, my eye turns to the EB Games 50% off sale signs that are shown in the photo on the Business Insider article.
Yeah, but be honest, when was the last time you went past an EB Games and they were not having a sale?
Yeah, but be honest, isn't that kind of the problem?
Yeah.
What do you think about the frequency of EB Games sales compared to things like game traders? And remember that old store Game that used to be everywhere, and that's just gone completely.
Yeah.
This model that EB Games uses it almost feels like it's kept it ahead of the competition.
Maybe. The question is how long will they remain ahead of the competition? Let's move on. Now, going back to my holiday in Hong Kong and China, and before I headed over to London, I managed to pick up some figures that we had heard about midway through last year, but yet to see on store shelves. And it's a brand new Cyberverse line. Yay! Everyone's excited for Cyberverse, right?
Yeah, they got a really long.
Where are all the cheers? Everyone's excited for Cyberverse, right?
Yay! Huzzah! A victory for the establishment.
What if I told you? I might just make that a little bigger. What if I told you that Cyberverse now has well-articulated figures that are somewhat on the par with what we've come to know as generations. So, like,
right out of town.
Combiner Wars, Titans Return, Power of the Primes, Siege, and forthcoming Earthrise figures. Cyberverse is going through a bit of a respec on Hasbro's front at the moment, and not only that, it's also going through a rebrand. If you look at the box that's on screen at the moment, it is now known as Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures.
Yep.
That just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It bodes. It bodes. Well, I don't know what it bodes, but it sounds like it's going to be an interesting season 3 of the cartoon.
Jason, what are your thoughts on your Transformers Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe Class Bumblebee Build-A-Figure Macadam Wave 1?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Maxwell. So I dutifully took a bunch of photos. This one was taken in a Starbucks in Hong Kong, where I was attracting a few funny looks for taking the photos. But as you can see, on his on the box there is the grand price of $179 for this figure. Don't panic too much. It's actually Hong Kong dollars, so it's actually about the retail price for a deluxe is about $35. Now, these figures do come with Build-A-Figure parts. It's the first time I believe that brand has been used for a Transformers figure, and they make McAdam, who is the bartender in McAdam's old oil house, frequently shown in the comics and just starting to show up in Transformers Cyberverse. Now, we'll talk about the Build-A-Figure parts in a bit, but obviously the figures are the main focus here. And so what you get in the box is a Studio Series style card back, which you could use as a bit of a background. Unfortunately, mine did not make it back to Australia because I did not have space for 4 deluxe boxes in my baggage. So I just took the figures out, took their effects pieces, and went with it. Each figure comes with a weapon, and some of them come with blast effects and 1 or 2 Build-A-Figure parts. And there's an instruction sheet down the bottom. Now these figures are on a plastic back in the box, and they have pretty minimal cable ties holding them into place as well. Bumblebee has 2, I believe, which is a far cry from what we've seen in figures of yore. Now let's move on a little bit. So Bumblebee is probably not the best example of the line, but as you can see, like he's got a fair bit of articulation. He's got ball jointed elbows, ball jointed hips. Now his legs can't swivel in and out at the knee, but other figures in the line can. He has ankle tilts, and his head swivels left to right and a little bit up and down. Now I say he's not the greatest example because I feel like the head articulation is a little bit limited, and I'm disappointed that his legs sort of can't swivel in and out at the knees, but that's okay because he can still pull off some interesting poses. There's a little bit of a run pose with his gun there, and when you try to get him to do a ground pound, that's what happens. Or what is it, the superhero landing pose? He really can't do it, but other figures in the line can. Now, so I did pick up all 4 of them. Now, I'm really impressed by the articulation options that are offered by some of these figures. So Shockwave, for example, this is a fairly familiar pose for people who've been reading the comics since the 80s. This is his comic cover Are All Dead pose. And so like, if you told me that a Cyberverse figure was going to be able to pull off sort of the subtlety of this pose, the arm positioning, and the legs and the head position. If you told me that a few months ago, I would have laughed you out of the room. But Shockwave, as you can see, he can rotate his legs around, and you know he's got a nice range of movement on his shoulders, on his hips, and on his elbows as well. So there's quite a lot that you can do with him, and he's got a good effects piece on his gun. The gun arm can actually be detached as well to form part of his tank, which means he actually does have 2 hands, but the gun covers up one of his hands.
Yeah, looks pretty good.
Yeah, until you get to the tank mode, which is sort of when it all falls apart. He looks like something that's crawled out of your television in the ring.
Yeah,
I think they move things around. They tried, but
yeah,
it's more of a design, really.
I feel like what lets this down is really the character design, not the engineering. Like I feel like the character design was designed for a simpler series of toy, which the ones that are currently on the shelves, and if they were engineering them like this to begin with, like this probably wouldn't have been the exact alt mode, but it is what it is. Move on to something.
A fan mode for his gun mode, or is there not a fan mode for his gun mode?
Not that I've seen. Yeah, don't know. I think you tend not to really see too many fan modes on deluxe class figures, and these are while they are deluxe class figures, they are a little bit simpler deluxes than we've seen on others. Still worth noting, he does have ankle tilts on his big chunky feet as well, and you can also just sort of see on his right shoulder there is a port for an effects part as well. So he is compatible with Siege 5mm and 3mm effects parts, as most of them are as well. And so you can take Siege effects, put them on Cyberverse figures, and you take Cyberverse effects and put them on Siege figures as well.
Mm.
So this fellow is more. This guy's more impressive. So Megatron,
He's legitimately excellent.
He is good. I don't really like his chunky shoulders. I don't know. Yeah, see, I've sort of got a photo showing his chunky shoulders there. And he's got squat feet as well. But again, the feet are on ankle tilts. You can sort of you can get him to do a few mahaha evil poses and stuff like that. And his alt mode is also a pretty nice like sci-fi tank kind of thing. And again, you can see a weapons port on the side there. There's space for effects on the cannon, Just ports on the top of him as well. I really like Megatron. I think his alt mode actually makes it for me because his robot mode has a couple of issues of sort of parts getting in the way of each other, but still really, really impressive. And like you can sort of like move his arms around and move his head. Megatron, I think, has the greatest range of head motion of these figures. So like you can move his head around and sort of like a little bit up and down as well. But of course, this one,
nice.
The Optimus Prime is really the highlight of the deluxes so far for me. Like, as you can see, he can do that superhero landing pose. That is a deluxe figure doing that. And not only that, it's a Cyberverse figure doing the superhero landing pose. Just let that sink in for a minute. Prime's great.
Prime to be such a standout.
Yeah, I did not expect this either.
It didn't look remarkable at all. It just looked
like it's
Prime, really.
It's pretty deceptive. He's got a lot of options for moving things around, and like it's kind of standard deluxe articulation, but we just don't expect it on a Cyberverse figure. So you sort of see, you can rotate his legs around. His gun is also actually pretty neat. It's sort of a bit of a squished up cartoony version of his regular G1 gun. Some people will notice he has grey hands. That might be a problem for some. And so he can also look up a little bit as well. Just very, very, very impressed by when you move his limbs around. He just sort of like sits there and he looks pretty chunky and just sort of looks like he's come out of the cartoon.
And he's also Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he's got a Matrix, but it's molded in and painted on. So
I mean, you see how small he is.
If once he inserts something into the Matrix there.
It does.
Matrix Blast, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I don't think I've got a photo of it, but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, no, he does have his effects part is a Matrix Blast that fits into the Matrix chamber. So you can have him light everyone's darkest hour all over them. But that Matrix Blast also, while it fits into the Matrix hole there, it also has a 5mm port in it, so it can fit over the cap of the gun or anything like that. So also pretty handy. And he can do the fairly thoughtful, troubled leader poses along with everyone as well. And there's the set now. These guys have just started to go on wider release in Asia. I'm sure they'll turn up here soon enough. But yeah, they were a bit of a surprise in December. I think they turned up on Ben's World of Transformers, and he'd received pictures from a friend who'd picked them up in Wan Chai in Hong Kong, which is where I picked these up as well. Wan Chai, if you haven't been to Hong Kong, there's an area in Wan Chai called Tai Wen Street, which is also known as Toy Street, and there's lots of stores on that street that they sell all sorts of toys. Transformers are not the only thing that they sell though, so some stores are better than others for it. But I managed to get. Sorry, in Hong Kong, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Hong Kong. Wan Chai's in Hong Kong, and then I also I didn't actually remember to put in. I took a video which has become my most popular tweet of the year of the Toys R Us store in Hong Kong. There's a lot of Transformers in that store. There's a lot of Transformers. And when I say a lot, I mean they had so many Transformers in their Transformers section, they had to make another section for Transformers. There's 2 Transformers sections, and it's in the Ocean Terminal Toys R Us in Hong Kong. It's pretty amazing. Like if you're a Transformers fan and you go there, you're sure to find something to buy. So yeah, and these guys were just being released in Toys R Us Hong Kong as I was leaving. But I picked these up from the toy stores in Wan Chai. So yeah, Cyberverse deluxe figures, pretty standard deluxe figures. Kind of cool though. Excuse me, that's the smoke. So the one we didn't really talk too much about the Build-A-Figure parts. I didn't really take photos of them because you need the next 4 figures to actually make the figure. And looking at what I've got, it's not going to be great. Like I feel like people are going to assume that the Build-A-Figure will be on a par with these figures, and it's just not going to be.
I think
like
they
the-
use the Marvel Legends model because the Marvel
Yeah.
Legends stuff, the Build-A-Figure is like a regular figure, but they're generally a lot better quality and all that. So it's kind of disappointing to hear that they haven't gone the same route.
Yeah, so like I've got a leg and a foot of McAdam, and it's all just one molded piece, right? So there's no like he's not going to be a transformer. He won't transform, which
No.
is a funny thing because no one knows what McAdam transforms into. And so he doesn't transform, and I don't think he's going to be great for posing either. But we'll see. A couple of points a couple of pieces that I do have ball joints on them, but it's also like it's way too early to sort of see how it all goes together so far.
Well, I saw, to be honest, I saw Pure did video reviews today of Optimus and Megatron, and then he showed the Build-A-Figure. And I thought it was just Bumblebee. Like, I'm not familiar with McAdam as a character. I thought it was like a powered up Bumblebee at first. And then I was like, oh, it's McAdam, of course. Yeah.
Why, yes.
Yeah, the only other I think the only other Build-A-Figure toy the Transformers ever did, which was Transmutate. And she's a good figure, but that's just because she never transformed.
Well, maybe that's what they're sticking with for this one.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny actually now that you mentioned that because like everyone talked about the Macadam figure as them bringing over this concept from Marvel Legends when actually that Transmutate predates the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figures. So
Maybe I don't
at first.
I don't actually know too much about the Transmutate figure, but so Build-A-Figure is a brand. It's a specific trademark that Hasbro owns, and they've been using it for Marvel Legends. So now they're going to use it for more things in their line. But like the basic thing, the basic concept's been around for ages. You get the parts for a different figure with all the others.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so look, that's a look at the Cyberverse Deluxe figures so far. The other 4 figures, I can't
There's
remember.
Hot Rod.
There's Hot Rod. There's RC and
Thunder Crash or Thunder.
Yeah.
Not Thunder Cracker. It's Thunder. I don't know if it was Thunder. I can't remember.
I do have a photo. I do have a photo of the back of the box, but it's just not in this photo set.
Shadow Striker?
Maybe.
No?
Sure, why not? Let's go with that.
I'm trying to pick whatever Brad's thinking of here.
No, it wasn't Thunder Clash. I can't remember if it was.
No, here we are.
There we go.
So it's Hot Rod, Grimlock, Hot Rod, Grimlock, RC, and I can't get the last one because it's not showing. Thunder Howl.
Thunder Howl. There you go.
Possibly, maybe a new character that we've not seen in the cartoon yet. Who knows? So in order to complete the McAdam Build-A-Figure, you will need to buy those 4 figures as well. But you know what? Given how good these ones are, like I do enjoy them as much as I might sort of like, be a bit matter of fact about some of them. I've had them in my possession for a good month and a half now, so I feel like I've spent enough time with them that I can sort of be a little bit blasé about them. But like I would happily go out and buy the other 4 in here. And one of the things that I've sort of noticed as I watched Cyberverse Season 2 is that like I really would like actual sort of almost more screen accurate figures of the characters. So these are a good step in the right direction. And also just the photo that we're looking at on screen at the moment, I love how big and chunky Optimus's knee pads are. Like they stick out a mile and they look great. If I go back there, you can see them just sort of sticking up there. They look great.
Yeah. And also, look, it also seems like if you're doing it for the Build-A-Figure, you're not going to be stuck with a remold because Grimlock and RC, I can't really imagine them coming out of the 4 molds we've already got.
It's a good point. I don't know whether or not we'll see any repaints in this line. I suspect maybe
Hot
not.
Rod maybe, but I don't think so. Like,
Yeah, I think Bumblebee might be repainted to Hot Rod, but that's just a wild guess. Not sure.
I think Hot Rod's character model is markedly different to Bumblebee in the show, so maybe not. We'll see.
Because I'm not too familiar with Cyberverse. I did watch it when it started, but I think I just lost track of it. And when I first saw the the picture, I didn't realize it was Hot Rod. I thought it was Sideswipe.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look like they're going to be good figures, and if you buy both waves, you're going to get 9 figures total, and build a figure. He seems pretty good. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be probably high price scalped on Facebook once the other 4 come out. Like,
I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not very confident that the Builder figure is going to be very good, but you never know. It might be a bit of a learning process for Hasbro, sort of doing a Builder figure transformer, and maybe the next time they do it, it'll be better. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We've got a few more news stories to talk about. We go from Cyberverse figures being discovered out in the wild to this news from today, which is an Earthrise Optimus Prime being discovered out in the wild from Nathan Wayne in the TCCA Facebook discussion group. He found Earthrise Optimus Prime. He said he also found the reissue Earthrise Astro Train. So he's the same figure that's been released in Siege, but being re-released in Earthrise packaging. And he found him in Bangkok in the Mega Plaza Toy Center up on the 3rd floor. So if you happen to be in Bangkok and you fancy picking up some new Transformers that the rest of the planet doesn't really have yet, head on over to Mega Plaza. I don't believe Nathan's posted any out-of-box photos of Optimus Prime yet. There have been a few comments made on the post that Prime looks quite small. This is a leader class figure, and it does seem like he's a Voyager class figure with armor, which is a similar thing to what we've seen in the Siege in the Siege line so far. So yeah, it is what it is, and it's either few or it's not. But yeah.
It seems like it's a leader class price point.
So it's a leader class price point, and it's really brought about by the addition of the trailer.
Yeah, and when I first saw this picture when we were going through the run sheet, I honestly thought that it was someone, because I've seen pictures of like animated Megatron, leader class animated Megatron. Someone's bought him, then put a Cyberverse figure inside and returned it. So I thought that's what we were looking at here at first. I thought someone had bought the leader class toy, painted it out, then put in a like a legend scale toy. But no, this is the Earthrise Optimus Prime, and I mean, I'm not going to be replacing my Power of the Primes Optimus Prime anytime soon. But there has also been a Voyager Megatron announced, which I don't think anyone knows what it looks like yet.
No, we will get to that a little bit later on, but
Yeah.
No, we haven't seen what the Voyager figure looks like. But being a Voyager figure, it's probably going to be about the same size as this Optimus Prime, so they should go together quite well.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of been. Sorry, I think that's kind of been a nice byproduct of the scale approach they've taken here. Is that it doesn't quite feel like you get the same size figure, but filling out the price point using those parts means that you don't run into scale issues between the leaders and the Voyagers, and you can spread those similar size characters across both price points.
Yeah,
that's right. Point.
There is like a leader class Shockwave and the Voyager class Megatron, but they don't seem dissimilar in size scale. So I think it works out.
That's right. They go together pretty well. Now, look, it's early days yet for Earthrise. I believe most retailers have it listed as due in February. We'll see how that goes.
Probably very, very small trickles like Siege seems to have. Oh, actually, no. It sort of trickled in at first, and then it sort of everyone got like a deluge of Siege figures, and hopefully we'll be getting the same, maybe better than with Earthrise.
No, so when I said retailers, I didn't mean like bricks and mortar retailers. I meant places like Robotoys. They've got them listed for a February release, but we don't know what's going to actually happen at retail shops in shopping centres. It's very hard to say. We don't really have an in with those retailers, and Hasbro tends not to really want to talk to us that much. But I don't know. I might go send Hasbro a question on their website about Earthrise's release and see what they say.
Yeah, because I think a few people that have wanted to buy from brick and mortar stores, Kmart and all the major retailers haven't really had any luck, but like Toy World and such, they seem to be having better luck, but that's just because they've got suppliers over in, like, I think the Philippines or something. They have more.
I've got no reason to believe that Toy World is getting its supplies from anywhere other than Hasbro Australia.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
To that point, actually, Hasbro Australia has advised occasionally when things are appearing in Toy World. So I'd say if they're going around them, then they wouldn't know that. So I would assume Toy World's getting their stock from Hasbro Australia like everyone else, but different stores or order different things. So
yeah, different stores, different price points as well.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's move on to the next story. Just a bit of a good news story and a thank you to Space Ape, who are the people who run the Transformers Earth Wars online game. So Space Ape has put an in-app purchase up as a firefighters pack in Earth War and in some of their other games as well, which they say that all of the revenue from the purchase of that pack is directly donated to charities that are supporting families and people and animals and towns that have been ravaged by Australia's bushfires. So a big thank you to Space Ape. I only discovered this tonight when I was browsing through some of the news. This hit a couple of days ago. So a big thank you, especially because it's not just Earth Wars; it's actually all of the games that they run. So they've had a big big influx of requests from the community for ways to help. So good on them, and thanks very much.
Yeah, it's been amazing recently, just seeing how much people have pulled in for this relief. It's been reassuring just to see how this has gone.
That's true.
It feels like it's coming from everywhere, like even places like this that you wouldn't expect it. It's great.
That's right. Like there has been there's been a massive outpouring of support from around the world for the firefighters fighting our fires, people who've lost everything to these bushfires. It's a tragedy that has been noticed internationally, and there's been stars like Pink, Elton John, even like no matter what people have donated, like anything is welcome. Even Jeff Bezos from Amazon, who's not known for donating much to anything, despite being the richest man on the planet, he donated $1 million to the recovery fund as well. So big thank you to everyone involved in that, and a big thank you to Space Ape once again. Next story, we're going back to Cyberverse. There's a lot of Cyberverse going on tonight. Now, over the Christmas break, a couple of Cyberverse sets have come to light that were not previously announced. It's a bit weird that they weren't previously announced, but this is what we're looking at here is the Cybertronian Villains Quintesson Invasion Pack. Now, one of the reasons I find this interesting is just I've got new Cyberverse figures and they're branded Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures, but these figures are still part of the existing Cyberverse line, still getting released, which means that the Bumblebee version must still be a few months away. So the Quintesson Invasion has, I don't know if that's actually happened in the cartoon yet, but we do get a Quintesson Judge with multiple heads that can rotate around, and there's the little versions of Shockwave and Prowl that come with little Quintesson mind control device, it looks like, to and you can sort of see that on top of Prowl's head there to turn them to the dark side, perhaps. Being Cyberverse, they are slightly stylized, but these are also probably one of the first times we've actually seen Quintessons represented in a main Transformers line.
Is this the first official Quintesson figure? Like,
I don't believe
I
it.
think there might have been Alpha Q.
There was Energon Alpha, but I don't think he was considered an actual.
So Alpha Q was more like one of the guards, perhaps. But look, my Energon and Armada history is not great. So I think this is the first time we've seen the 5-faced judges, and I assume there's 5 faces. There might only be 3. I don't know, but the multi-faced judges, let's say, this is the first time I've seen them represented as an official toy.
Yes. The only other one was the third-party one, which I've got up there, but yeah, not an official one. But if you look at the pictures of this Quintesson on the back, you can see what appears to be another 2 faces. So it looks like we're going to get the old 5-face.
Hopefully, that'd be great. Now, moving on. So this is but one set that's been suddenly revealed to the world and released. The other is also causing a few little ripples around the fandom because it's a multi-pack with 3 Sharkticons and Hot Rod. That's not great, but still. This is, again, part of the Cybertronian villains subline under Cyberverse. It's Sharkticons Attack. So it's in fact, this is actually the only photos that we got of it here. There's a, I want to say deluxe. I really hope it's a deluxe Hot Rod there. I don't think he's actually he's more warrior class than deluxe. He's not one of the deluxe figures. But there's 3 Sharkticons and they look cute as. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on one of these little sets and just seeing how those Sharkticons are. Now, they are on sale. They've gone up. They've listed today on RobotKingdom.com. I think they are the price that we see here, which is $19.99, and I think it's $25 or $24.99. I don't think we'll see it in here. But of course, Robot Kingdom has quite expensive shipping if you're shopping from Australia. I'm trying a freight forwarder that has a delivery address in Hong Kong. So we will see how that goes over the next couple of weeks. The figures are shipping from Robot Kingdom on the 20th of January, which is, I think, Monday. What's today? Today's the 17th.
Yeah.
So they'll ship out from Robot Kingdom next week. Hopefully make it to my freight forwarder, and hopefully I'll have these the week after. We'll see how we go. And if it works out, then I'll tell everyone the freight forwarder that I'm using.
Well, first when I saw that pack, I thought that Hot Rod was being done like the custom one that you got done, but it's not purple, is it? It's orange.
I think he's a dark brown. I think he's meant to be an evil version of Hot Rod by the looks of it, since it is the villains pack. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll see. Look, I will just caution that they are Cyberverse figures, so I'm not expecting great things, but they're okay.
I mean, they look pretty good for G1 Sharkticon homages. They do, don't they? Yeah.
Also, every single Sharkticon appears to be held in with 2 cable ties.
Yeah, they look like no bigger than bots in this shot. Actually,
I believe they are maybe 20 or 30% larger than a bot, but yeah, they're not huge.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
All right, let's move on. Only a couple of stories left to get us through now. Bradley, you mentioned this earlier in the show. There have been a few new figure listings revealed, and in fact, since this was actually revealed on the 1st of January, it's been a couple of weeks now. I don't know if we've seen some of these figures actually revealed yet, but that Voyager Megatron is right there under Earthrise, and I'm pretty sure we haven't seen him yet. So we are looking at 4 new Voyagers for the Studio Series: Blitzwing, Skipjack. Yes, Skipjack. Never. Scrapper, of course. to be one of the Constructicons, and Sentinel Prime.
Interesting.
Excuse me. Yeah. So yeah, Sentinel Prime, actually a fairly in-demand figure for Studio Series. I think people have been waiting for a good Sentinel Prime figure, and so that may finally be here. Under Earthrise, we've got a Voyager Megatron, a Micromaster Battle Squad, Voyager Snapdragon, Voyager Quintesson. That will be an interesting one to see as well. Whether or not it's a Quintesson Judge or something like that, we'll see. A couple more Micromaster Astro Patrols and Racetrack Patrols. And under Cyberverse, we're seeing Ultra Skullcruncher and Thunderhowl. There's that name again. And an Ultimate Iaconus. Now that's an interesting one because Iacon is actually a city in Transformers lore. So we'll see what Iaconus turns up as.
Is that also a new size class for Cyberverse?
Ultimate?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think Ultimate is those really, really big ones that are stupidly expensive but very, very simple.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking very forward to Snapdragon, and want to see more of Quintesson and the Battle Squad before I sort of commit to them.
Yeah, look, it looks like the Micromasters might be a through line on all three parts of this trilogy, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, I also just like reading Ultra Skullcruncher. That sounds so metal.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Beyond belief it's taken this long to get a actual Blitzwing, but I'm glad it's finally happening.
Yeah,
it's like a big gap in even with the figures that have been announced. Right, there's still, aside from the 3A one, there's this real lack of what was initially such a marketed character. So
I wonder if it's I wonder if it's that they're a little bit ashamed that Blitzwing probably should have been Starscream.
Perhaps. I'm trying to also figure out if Skipjack is just a trademarkable name for Wheeljack.
Ah.
I think Skipjack is the alternate name for Rampage. So you know the one-legged bloke that's part of Devastator.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's another Constructicon. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
actually, that makes a lot of sense because if you look at the SKUs there, they're consecutive SKUs. They're 7213 and 7214, whereas the others are 73 and 82. So, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, good point. Also, I haven't been collecting the Studio line, but I'm just surprised it's taken this long to get a Sentinel Prime.
Yeah, but look, I don't really malign them. I don't really give them too much flack for like the release order of things. Like the line, I was commenting to someone the other day. I feel like the Studio Series line has been really well received by fans, including fans who don't really like the movie figures. And I feel like they've actually led to some acceptance of the Bayverse movie designs because a lot of them are actually quite strong figures carrying those designs. So we wish that we'd seen them when the movie lines were actually out. But I think retroactively they are actually doing a lot of good things for the Bayverse designs.
Well, it probably helps as well that you can have a line that's going back and revisiting the Bayverse designs now because the movies are old enough that people are nostalgic for them.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been long.
Yeah. So as TFW notes or noted 2 weeks ago when the story was actually published, there's no images yet for these listings, but New York Toy Fair is coming up next month. So we are a couple of weeks closer to next month now. So it seems likely that we'll see a reveal of some of these figures there.
I was trying to work out because each figure has like a number in brackets. Is that how many there's going to be per case, or is it something I'm missing? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you put 3 of something in a case. I don't think. You might be right about the Micromasters. There's 8 there as well. So
yeah,
maybe it is. Maybe the cases are a bit weird. But yeah.
Well, they're not even not sure because they usually ship Voyagers in waves of 2. So who knows?
Okay. Yeah. Just an observation.
We'll find out come Toy Fair at least. I mean,
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see. All right, one more.
Toy Fair doesn't leak beforehand like it always happens.
Always does seem to, doesn't it? Or there'll be that dude standing in front of it for a week. All right, last story for tonight. IDW has announced a new Transformers comic book. It is another crossover. It is Transformers versus the Terminator. Now, this is a franchise mashup that I was not expecting to ever really see. And IDW's marketing, like, I don't want to call it suspect or questionable, but they did say that people have been clamoring for this mashup for a long time, and I don't know that they have. But let's be fair. There are a couple of iconic 80s franchises. IDW has some pretty talented Transformers artists and writers that are not necessarily doing that much at the moment with the new Transformers book. There's generally new creative teams on there. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this mashup. I actually think it's really interesting looking at the artwork here. So you can see sort of like Megatron's got the Terminators within his grip. But if you look at the cover of that, that's a Terminator hiding inside Optimus Prime. Like,
that's a pretty shit infiltrator.
But that's the bad guy hiding inside a good guy. So like that one's kind of interesting. The shot of Megatron and all the Terminators, that's kind of to be expected, right? But yeah,
I can picture Megatron and Skynet being on the same page.
No, Legion.
Yes.
Oh, is this a new movie thing?
Yes, it's a new movie thing. Skynet's not.
Well,
Skynet, the malevolent artificial intelligence, is no longer the bad guy in the Terminator franchise. The new bad guy is Legion, which is a malevolent artificial intelligence.
Is there any?
Yeah, but they're from
the 2040s, not the 2020s.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a true Terminator fan, there's only 2 Terminator movies.
That's true, because they keep trying to make a sequel to Terminator 2.
It's not going to happen.
No, every movie that's come out, excuse me, every Terminator movie that's come out since Terminator 2, including Terminator 3, is just like, we're the real sequel to Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Then Terminator Genesis comes out, and they're like, oh, ignore all the other movies. We're the sequel to Terminator 2. Then another one comes out, they're like, oh, forget the other movies. We're the direct sequel to Terminator 2. Terminator Dark Fate is actually the closest that anyone's actually come to doing something like Terminator 2. It was all right. It didn't do very well at the box office. It's probably killed the franchise. So let's see what happens when they meet the Autobots and the Decepticons.
Well, Genesis killed the franchise, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So in a couple of years' time, we'll have something else to.
They said Genesis killed the franchise, and Dark Fate kind of proved that. Good movie, but no one was interested.
I read the synopsis to Dark Fate, and I was like, it sounds like in the first 5 minutes they just piss all over the first 2 movies, and that's a major no-no. You don't do that.
There is something major that happens in the first 5 minutes of Dark Fate.
Yeah.
But it happens after Judgment Day. So So it happens after Judgment Day was meant to happen. So it's sort of like, you were successful. So yeah. Anyway, enough Terminator talk.
Yeah.
That is it for news for this week. We are coming up to the hour mark, so we might look to finish the show off, shall we? Do you want to talk quickly about some new acquisitions, Bradley? I've already spoken about the Cyberverse figures. I will just add that I got the recent Masterpiece releases, Bumblebee, Black Arachnia, and Hound, but I haven't opened them yet. They'll come up at some point in the next couple of weeks. But Max, you said you didn't actually get anything new recently.
No, I pre-ordered that 3.0 Soundwave, but beyond that, nothing.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Come in, but yeah. So hopefully I'll have something big and exciting to talk about in the coming weeks. It
sounds good.
Well, as I said at the beginning, and that you probably saw in the run sheet, I've gotten like that many Cyberverse figures, a phone book's worth of instruction manuals. Not going to go over all of them, but I will just say a couple of things. Springer, I think he's probably my figure pick of 2019. He's just really awesome. He's got a good transformation, though a lot of it is not really expressed in the instructions. The instructions are a bit lacking, but it's an awesome toy nonetheless. If you're a fan of G1 Springer, don't get G1 Springer, get this instead, because this is a more accurate representation.
To be honest, the G1 Springer is probably way more expensive than that anyway.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. And also, just a couple of little side notes. I got Crosshairs with Spinister, of course. And he goes really well with the Autobot Target Master that comes with the Counter-Strike. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Crosshairs.
No, not this guy. This guy.
That guy. Oh, right.
Yeah.
I don't know because you didn't actually say Crosshairs, so yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they really go well together. The reds and the black sort of mesh quite well. And also because Crosshairs now has his Target Master, Ironhide now has two of the same gun. So I've sort of got a Bayverse sort of Ironhide here with one mounted gun on each arm. And
he looks like Rumble.
Yeah, he does actually. But yeah, pretty cool. Also got Ratchet and Impactor and Spinister and lots of good stuff. They're all good. They're all awesome. But yeah, if you can only get one figure from last year, get Springer.
Hard recommend.
All right. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Look, we are reaching the end of the show. Briefly on TCCA business, we did have our fundraising end of year giveaway at going through November and December last year. Prizes are being sent out for that at the moment, and by that I mean I haven't sent them out yet, but I'm going to. And that is about it. Club business is still getting up and running for the new year, so we will see where we end up with that. So thank you for listening, everyone. That's the show. That's my coughing fit.
I think I'm still the only one on. I think I still got the close up. We're not in the 3.
You're right. There we go. That's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter too much about the video. Anyway, so let's do it again. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you are watching along with the live feed, thank you for checking us out. You can get in touch with us all in the Transformers Collectors Club Australia group on Facebook. You'll find links to these stories and more in the show notes posted to the Transformers Weekly Facebook page and the Podbean site. Please subscribe. We like it when people subscribe, and you can subscribe to us on iTunes, Pocket Casts, YouTube, Spotify, Google, and more. There's an RSS feed in the website if you need it, although I suspect most podcatchers know how to find us these days. We are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia, a registered club in Victoria run by volunteers like us who donate their time and money to make the club better for everyone. Our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country. We do it by engaging the collecting community and sometimes just sitting on YouTube and talking about Transformers. You can find out more information about the club, including affordable yearly membership options starting at just $5 to show your support at transformerscca.com. Bradley, tell us how we can find you on Twitch.
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/groovyguy0069. Just look for the big pair of legs that are twitching.
All right, thank you very much. That is all from us. We will be back with more Transformers news next week. Next week will be the day before Australia Day, so we'll see how we go with that. Hopefully no one's going away for Australia Day, and we can still put a show on. We'll see how we go. Goodbye.
I'll be there for Friday, so it should be all good.
Excellent. Goodbye.